Merry meet and welcome. Welcome to the realms of mysticism, the occult, and magic, where your possibilities are only limited by your imagination. Welcome to the witch's cauldron and discover the knowledge you seek. Gather round the cauldron and even stay for a spell. Brightest blessings to you. Merry meet and welcome to the Witch's Cauldron. My name's Paula. Today's video is on the full moon occurring on the 17th of January in the sign of Cancer. Now, one little thing I do want to point out is that on the 14th of January, Mercury moved retrograde at 10 degrees 20 minutes of Capricorn, and it will be retrograde for the next three weeks, with Mercury turning direct on the 4th of February at 24 degrees 23 minutes of Capricorn. Now, the 17th of January, we will have a full moon occurring at 27 degrees 50 minutes of Capricorn at 3:48 p.m. Pacific, which would be 6:48 p.m. Eastern and 11:48 p.m. in the UK. Now, for those of you who are magical practitioners, on the 17th, the moon will actually be transitioning from Cancer into Leo. So the moon will be void of course from 6:48 p.m. to 11:02 p.m. when it enters Leo. So you may want to do your full moon ritual either the night before on the 16th or wait until it goes into Leo, okay? But the technical, the quote unquote official time for the full moon is at 6:48 p.m. So in the UK, you'll probably be pretty good, but on the East Coast and Pacific time, make your adjustments as you see fit, okay? Especially here on the East Coast. So just for those of you who are magical practitioners and you don't like performing rituals during periods of time when the moon is void of course. Now, one thing that's really interesting is that this is the fourth full moon in sequence of a total of 7, and all of these full moons are occurring at 27 degrees of their sign. This one is highlighting Pluto in the U.S. natal chart. I have a separate video on that. I will try to remember to link it in the description box, but I'm horrible at remembering to do that. So if I don't, leave me a comment down below. So Pluto in the U.S. natal chart is at 27 degrees Capricorn. So the full moon will be opposing it, okay? The U.S. will experience its exact Pluto return in February, and that energy will last through 2022 and 2023. U.S. Pluto is in the second house of its natal chart, of the U.S. natal chart. And this illuminates issues around the economy, banking, finance, government, the Constitution, and power and control. So we're already starting to see that begin to fall out now. This week, we just had Supreme Court rulings on vaccine mandates. There's also been a lot of pushback where constitutionality, legality, and the separation of the branches of the U.S. government based on constitutional law, and not overstepping the bounds of those branches of government. For those of you in the US who know anything about our government, you know what I'm talking about. Others of you of the world are probably going, what? So just know that there's going to be an additional highlight on the US and the Constitution, and whether or not things that are being done from the government, by the government to the people, are constitutionally legal or not. Okay, there's going to be more pushback and more unfolding about that. And for everyone, it's more about autonomy of self and having control over what happens to you, your body. And there's been a whole shift where people are starting to really balk at top down authority from authoritarian rule, and they are pushing back on the basis of personal autonomy. Like, I'm smart enough to make decisions for myself. You don't have to mandate me to do something or institute, mandates where it refers to, the health and well being of my body. Remember that during this period of time, don't let yourself fall in a victim mentality. If you feel like a victim, then you will bring victimhood into your reality. If you take control of your situation and control of where your boundaries are in general, then your reality will unfold that way, where you have more control over your own destiny. Okay. And it's very important that you are self-aware throughout this process, because it can really make a difference in what your reality ends up being. Okay. The full moon on the 17th, the sun is conjunct Pluto at 26 degrees 29 of Capricorn, and the moon is in opposition. So issues around power are at the center of it all. Okay. Now remember that the moon is ruled by Cancer, and it's in its own sign. And most people don't really think of Cancer as being the kinder, gentler, more caring and loving and nurturing sign in the zodiac that it is. A lot of people think of crabby crabs, they think of the negative side of a Cancerian aspect rather than on the positive side. That shell is the crab's home, right? And it takes care of its home and it defends its home. Okay. It defends itself. And looking at it from more of a positive aspect than focusing on the negative. Now, the crab can also be very vulnerable. And we may tend to be a little more emotional during this time, but Cancer is one of the more sensitive water signs. Cancer is also associated with motherhood. And don't go at me in the comments about not all, I'm saying nurturing and motherhood as energies. Males can be nurturing and have nurturing and mothering qualities to them. It's not specific to the female of the species. So don't come at me in the comments about energy versus gender. All right? I don't want to hear it. So this issue and focus on nurturing and motherhood there may be issues coming up around your children or around the next generation, okay? And what's the best for them and the need to protect and nurture them. Remember, I said that crab will protect itself and protect its home, that shell? These issues are becoming very clear in society right now, that we are looking at the negative impacts that have our children have been hit with throughout the pandemic, with lack of socialization, uh, vaccine mandates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the sun and the moon are forming a cardinal grand cross to the square between Pluto and Eris at 23 degrees 41 minutes of Aries. And again, this is highlighting the clash between a heavy handed government and governmental control and restrictions and authoritarianism versus people fighting for their own personal autonomy and freedom and taking to the streets. And adding to this is Haumea at 29 degrees of Libra. The full moon is happening just as Uranus slows to station. So there is a clear divide between the old systems and structures in Capricorn, okay, and the new with that chaotic, frenetic energy of Uranus. With any full moon, there is a sense of closure or completion. And this is going to be even more highlighted because there are such strong aspects to Pluto going on. And remember that changes brought about by the energies of Pluto tend to be permanent and they go very deep. Now, a new beginning being birthed is emphasized by the Grand Cross in relationship to Haumea. On the 18th, Uranus's station at 10 degrees 49 Taurus will overlap the station of Eris 8 days later, okay, on the 26th. Uranus and Eris have that the symbology of the awakening, revolution, rebellion, and truth. It's also puts a light on shocking events, earth events, such as earthquakes, volcanoes, extreme earth events, extreme weather. It can also manifest as very strong electromagnetic energy, coronal mass ejections, solar flares. So this energy gives possibilities to cyber attacks and issues with aviation. Remember that this energy is very disruptive and it's sudden and unexpected. Uranus is still in square to Saturn at 13 degrees 55 Aquarius, but also to Mercury at 8 degrees 31 Aquarius. And this again re-emphasizes shocks and surprises, but it also encourages us to think outside the box, in be radical in our thinking outside the box to solve the problem, okay? This may involve new social structures and how you see yourselves in them, okay? And if you want to play a part in developing new communities of thought. During 2020 and 2021, with the Saturn Uranus square. Saturn has had the upper hand. That's going to be shifting in 2022, and Uranus will gain the upper hand. Uranus is going stationary, going to station on the 18th, will kind of start that ball rolling. But I think that the noticeable shift in energy will come in May, okay, late spring. We will have a period, the last 4 days of January and the first 4 days of February, where Saturn is exactly aspecting the world axis. And this is an indicator of even stronger governmental controls, really locking things down, kind of like coming down on everyone. In 2020 and 2021, we kind of accepted these lockdowns collectively, um, you know, especially in 2020 at first, at the beginning of the pandemic. We were like, yes, we need to lock down. We need to let things kind of, people figure out what's going on, what's happening. But now in 2022, the people are no longer pleased with how everything is being handled, whether it's vaccinations, lockdowns, you know, building of internment camps and quarantine camps, whatever you want to call them, restricting access to food, where the unvaccinated can't go grocery shopping. Things, draconian measures, people worldwide are starting to push back. And I think that's really going to come to a head over the summer, where we're done. We're done with being, locked down. And I think it's going to really start the ball rolling with the collapse of the old and cause the paradigm shift to birth a new earth. Okay. 2022 is going to be a lot more revolutionary. I suggest that you prepare for it if you can. I've said this before. If you can, lay down some shelf-stable food. Get canned meats. Get evaporated milk, powdered milk. Whatever you can afford to set aside in the next few months. And don't forget, if you have pets, try to get your hands on some extra. It may not be your specific brand that you usually give them, but, buy what you can and put it to the side. I've got like 60 pounds of dog food stashed away for my 4 kids. So just throwing that out there. The 18th is not only powerful because of the station of Uranus, but that's also the day that the nodal axis changes from Gemini Sag to Taurus Scorpio. And it will stay in Taurus Scorpio for the next 18 months. This is putting more focus on food supplies, agriculture, the earth, nature, paring things down, getting back to simpler ways of living, enjoying the simple things in life. It's also linked to finance, banking, and the economy. Scorpio rules debt, default, and taxes. And the ruler of Scorpio is Pluto. So during the 18 months that the South Node is in Scorpio, Could we possibly see a different tax structure? Also, Scorpio is the most sexual sign of the zodiac. And so I think that a whole bunch of sexual and financial secrets are going to continue to come out. Um, and there is a need to purge the corruption, to, be like heat seeking missiles and blow that stuff up. And especially with the Maxwell trial and what she knows and what she knows about who she knows stuff about. I think that there is a certain prince that is going to have a very unhappy summer. I think he's going to have a very rough time trying to keep all of his peccadillos out of the newspapers this year. Um, Now, with the South Node in Scorpio, we can have a lot of secrets come out involving toxins and poisons that have been hidden from us. So take that information and do with it what you will. A lot of people are very skeptical about vaccinations. It could be that a major corporation is found to be doing a whole bunch of polluting that had been undiscovered. Um, Additional information could come out. There could be, like in the US, we have them, what's called Superfund events, where, things like 3 Mile Island and other, you know, toxic waste areas have to be cleaned up. So there could be additional information coming out about things like that as well. I think that there will be an emphasis placed on rooting out the truth about whether or not raw ingredients are ethically sourced, and particularly involving child labor and exposure to toxic situations for that, like the mining of mica and silica and its close proximity to natural born asbestos, and having children digging through asbestos to mine mica and silica for raw ingredients. Also, Taurus and Scorpio are both fixed signs. So, this orientation of the nodal axis is about finding resilience and strength, and we may surprise ourselves. Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet of love. I've encouraged you guys to remain in that higher frequency, from a place of compassion and love and learning, and try and stay out of the negative areas of hate. It's going to be a shift for us to embrace the heart and not be so in the mind. And also embrace the spirit and your connection with a higher power, and your connection with the universe and universal flow of energy, versus being all up in this, okay, and concerned with stupid stuff, okay? On the 20th of January, on the 20th of January, Mars is conjunct the galactic center at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. And this allows us to access those higher frequencies, those higher consciousness energies. And on the 22nd, however, it's going to be a little And that's, an official astrological term, because the moon in Mars is square at 28 degrees Virgo, Sag. And we have a Mars Saturn semi-square on the 23rd, and the 24th, the moon opposes Eris and squares Pluto. That's a whole lot. And that's the struggle between autocratic control and individual human rights and your personal autonomy. Okay. Mercury will be conjunct Pluto at 26 degrees Capricorn on the 28th. This alignment is likely to reveal some big secrets of the rich and powerful that can really set the world on its ears. And we're going to be focusing and thinking a lot about power, control, and betrayal. Um, Venus stations direct at 11 degrees Capricorn on the 29th. And this strengthens her ability to help us find pleasure in life, to remember what means the most to us. On the 30th, the sun squares Uranus and the moon squares Eris. And this is, again, pushing forward that revolutionary energy that will not be silenced and it will not be put down. This then sets the stage for a very powerful new moon occurring at 12 degrees, 19 minutes of Aquarius on the 31st of January at 9:45 p.m. Pacific, or at 12:45 a.m. on the 1st Eastern in the US, and 5:45 a.m. on the 1st in the UK. Now, Aquarius is ruled by that chaos creator, Uranus. Okay, Uranus is the maverick, and that rebellious energy is going to continue to ramp up with that new moon. So I really suggest that you find where 12 degrees of Aquarius falls in your natal chart. And then any new moon ritual that you do, focus it on that area of your chart, on that house where 12 degrees of Aquarius falls. We have a whole bunch of planets in Capricorn, okay, during this period of time. And that's Mars, Venus, Mercury, and Pluto. Venus at 11 degrees is tightly trine to Uranus at 10 degrees, 53 minutes of Capricorn. And Mercury remains conjunct Pluto at 25 degrees and 27 degrees Capricorn, respectively. So Mercury will continue to reveal secrets that some folks would rather to remain hidden. Saturn at 15 degrees 30 Aquarius will be conjunct the new moon. But they're separating. So it's going to be a less powerful force here. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and it is square to the sun and moon. So there's that big sense that the old world, represented by Saturn, and the new world order by Uranus. And since it's an Aquarian new moon, Uranus is getting the upper hand again, okay? So you will start to really feel that shift in the energy base where for the past couple of years, Saturn's had the upper hand. Uranus is going to start with a big power surge in May, okay? Now, Mars at 5 degrees 36 of Capricorn is trine to Uranus as well. And it's activating that rebellious energy. It's causing awakenings. It's bringing that chaotic energy to the forefront again. Now, Uranus has galactic links, but it's also very um, connected to our higher consciousness, our higher mind, or our super consciousness. At the new moon, the Aquarius energy is going to encourage us to link up with like minded folks, to, find your tribe, so to speak, and to consider of being part of community in some sort of way, even if it's a living situation or online. Okay. Uranus is sextile to Jupiter at 7 degrees 16 Pisces, and both are linked to future and bigger vision that benefits the all rather than the benefit of a few. We also need to figure in that wild card, Black Moon Lilith. Um, Lilith never obeys the rules, okay? And Black Moon Lilith is at 10 degrees 17 of Cancer in a tight quincunx to the sun and the moon. And this suggests that Lilith will be fighting for the children in some way. Okay? She will be that driving force for people to say, enough, enough with this, where our children and our grandchildren are concerned, right? Black Moon Lilith is one of the wild cards in this whole scenario. And like I said, I really think that with this alignment, there could be some stuff coming out about child labor, exploiting children, especially if children are being exploited by the P words. I can't say that word because I'll get demonetized automatically. So anything involving the exploitation of children, that energy will make that known and be sure that those people responsible are brought to justice. Okay? From May onwards, there are going to be a lot of changes. I am going to be doing a separate video on the themes and, the astrology of 2022 and what that I think the astrology means for us as a collective. But be very cautious of where you put your energy and who you invest your energy in. Because for us societally to go through a collapse of the old structures to bring forward a new earth, to bring forward a more loving world, we have to stay in those higher frequencies, okay? Stay out of that victim mind thought and stay in a place of peace and love and joy and gratitude and appreciation for what you have and compassion for others. And you're going to need that kind of bubble to kind of shield yourself from the chaos that's going to ensue. You're going to be well aware of it, but trying to see other points of view, be compassionate to others, will have you like taking the high road, for lack of a better term. Okay. I always in my videos walk in love and light. That's going to be my big advice to you for all of 2022, is to try and stay in that higher energy. With that, that's it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Are you going to do a full moon ritual? If you are, what do you think you're going to have your ritual be about? What part of your life do you want to focus on? And with that, my friends, as I always say, merry we did meet, merry we will part, until we merry meet again. Be well and walk in love and light, everybody. Bye.